Dressing in microtrends has become a low status behavior. Today I want to talk about the death of microtrends and life after brain rot. A couple of weeks ago I contributed to a Vogue Business article about the death of microtrends. Looking back at the past few years, we can see that algorithms completely cooked our personal style.
Cooked, burnt. I love that Eugene says that because it's so true. Yes. I couldn't agree with Eugene more. Now, first off, what is the value of trends? Why do they even exist in the first place, right? Well, put very simply, trends do have some utility in a few ways. So one, they allow us to speak a similar language. You know, our brains crave patterns. We don't want to be confused. We want to make sense of things. So familiarity through trends literally lowers the cognitive load, making it easier to process and categorize what we see when we assess one another. Now, the second part is I ultimately coach and teach my clients and audiences around the reality that our beauty, our presence, is literally a reward to others. It quite literally stokes the release of dopamine in different parts of our brain. And that reward includes when someone is executing a broadly appealing style, like a trend, really well. And the reason why this is attractive to others is because we interpret that person who's displaying the trend, executing the trend really well, as in the know, likely holding social status in other parts of their life as well. And we begin to assume that they likely execute other disciplines well. This is essentially the classic halo effect. So this is why trends can be attractive and actually have some utility in being attractive to others and leaving a good impression. But when Eugene says it cooks our personal style, it kind of ruins it. I not only agree, but honestly feel a little pain inside when I hear that because it's just so true and so many people are led astray. Now, ultimately, this is because that as my love and inspiration, La Roche has said, style itself is a falsehood, a farce. It's not real. Personal style is real style. And personal style comes from within. It's born from our values, our passions, and our imaginative personas. It comes from within, and we use clothes as an external expression of that. This is presence through personal style and polish. Now, it is not using fashion to define our values and persona, which is exactly what microtrends and these supersonic trend cycles make us believe.
It's not just how exhausting it became to keep up with microtrends, always feeling like you're behind, your clothes never feeling relevant. It's that algorithms have a tendency to reward the most extreme opinions.
Yes, and extreme is not what cultivates a dazzling presence that commands respect and status. See, extremities get our attention, these extreme micro trends, etc., and fuel algorithms as a result. But despite us paying attention, these trends and leveraging extremities in style leaves us with a bad or more so troubled impression of that person. Troubled is not a very good goal. See, when we assess someone's style and polish, our brains seek what's called schema congruence. Essentially, does what I see make sense? How does this person's dress or style make me feel? How should it make me feel? And this cognitive cascade is automatic. But if the signals clash or feel extreme as a result of following these extremities of style trends, it leads to mental fatigue, blocking others' ability to admire you. And admiration is what fuels presence.
In fashion, what this meant was that microtrends got further and further away from what people wore or even wanted to wear. Who
Keyword
exactly looked
wanted.
good in a bubble skirt? Fashion became a pure simulacrum that only really existed online. Nobody who wasn't an influencer actually dressed like this. As I mentioned before, I think we're heading into a post-brain rot era where IRL will become a status symbol.
Bingo,
Dressing in microtrends has
bingo.
effectively become a low status activity because it's basically telling everyone you're chronically online. It's not fashion, it's cosplay. This is why you're starting to see the pendulum swing completely in the opposite direction, where people are starting to embrace more basics-driven capsule wardrobes.
So let's clarify. IRL in real life has always been a status symbol. Okay, just because we're dealing with these crazy micro trends and these phenomenon, this is why we're talking about it again, but it's always been a status symbol. Your ability to deliver an authentic and attractive physical presence, in part through personal style, has never gone out of style again. Now, no matter how much we anchor ourselves into digital interaction and consumption, you cannot replace the dynamic and sensory experience of seeing and interacting with others in person. The most powerful people in your organization, communities, do not hone their respect from being online. They show up and they show out. And, I do love how he uses the word status quite a bit. Status is essentially others holding us in high enough regard to be trusted and preferred over others, over our competition. And as we still work through growing pains coming out of the dungeon that was the pandemic, those of us who master our physical presence in real life will be the ones that win that status. Recently, past few years or so, as companies were evolving into hybrid models, the team members who went into the office were gaining higher status and more opportunities. That's proof point one about prioritizing being in real life. Now, fast forward to the current, now we're watching as RTO or return to office is raging back into play, and businesses are gobbling up office space again. And the repercussion of this is simple but very powerful. A pecking order is re-emerging as it did before, and your presence in the office and among colleagues will be the determinant for your success and growth wholeheartedly. So, as I always say, the world is your runway. Get out in real life and step into your power. Just don't let fleeting microtrends dictate that power.